watch this video all the way to the end because there's a lot of information that wasn't told about this whole story. So let's get into it.
All right, my name is DeWitt Lacey. I am an attorney with the law firm of Burris, Nissenbaum, Curry, and Lacey. And we are here today to talk about what happened to Marquise Jackson.
Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Who's standing here with me, with his family, by way of some Okaloosa County Sheriff's Department officers or deputies. Now I'll say this, folks. There's been a lot of comical comments about what happened and comments about the initial videos that had been released by law enforcement, right? The nature of the officer's mistake, their reaction, and what has been told to law enforcement, or what has been told by law enforcement to the public, is that everything's okay, right? The officer who made this horrible mistake, the one officer, they say, has been now terminated or resigned, and all is well. Marquise was not hit by any of the dozens of rounds that were fired into that vehicle, so we should all be okay and go home and have a nice evening.
And that's exactly what they want you to think. They want you to be like, we're sorry, we didn't mean it, we just, we shot a bunch of rounds into this car. But I do want you to understand that there's more to this story, and they didn't share all the body cams, and I'm just hoping that this other half of the body cam comes out. But we'll wait and see. But listen to the story about how this really transpired.
But that isn't the truth. That is not the truth. If that were the truth, I ask you this. I want you to go talk to the psychologists who see our war veterans. Even though some of them may have not been struck or hit by bullet fire, they still have a lot of psychological issues and turmoil and trauma from those wars, from those engagements. If we think that that is okay, I would say talk to the refugees and or folks who come here from war-torn countries. Though they may have not been shot themselves, they still bear the wounds of the psychological trauma of being involved in this type of violence. The difference is Marquise does not live in a war-torn country, or so we believe. Marquise did not participate in some type of civil unrest in a country that's experiencing a lot of turmoil.
And I can sit there and I can feel this man's pain. From my videos in the past, I've had numerous guns pointed at me, face down on the ground, handcuffed, thrown in the back of a car. And just because I wasn't arrested, and I have been arrested, just because I wasn't arrested or those guns weren't pointed at me, trust me, usually on those days, I don't sleep well for at least 2 days. Like, it's just the constant going through my head about, wow, that's how close my life was. I was a trigger pull away from my life. So I can feel this man's pain, but the amount of bullets that were flying at him, I couldn't imagine. I'm so thankful that I haven't had gunfire at me yet. So, knock on wood.
He's right here in Fort Walton. And he had all these rounds fired at him. And of course, there's trauma that comes with that. Luckily, fortunately, he survived miraculously.
Thank you, Jesus!
You're covered. You are covered, brother. But miraculously, he survived. And he's here to talk about it today, okay? And he's got a statement he wants to tell you all. What we also will be doing today is releasing some videos of more shots that were fired at Marquise.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me you have body cams that the police didn't release of them shooting more? It wasn't just the two officers? There's more officers that were shooting at this guy? All right, let's hear this story, man. This is getting more wild by the second.
When he was handcuffed in the back of a car, already had been searched, had not committed any crimes. The officers told Marquise that in order for them to give him relief, that is to get him out of the situation where he was being fired at while handcuffed in the back of this patrol car, that he had to sit up and allow them to shoot rifles.
Hey, bro, come on now, dawg. Come on, man.
Around his silhouette to knock out the windows so they could see inside. Apparently around here, you can't see inside officers' glass windows. I don't know, maybe they have tinted windows. It sounds ridiculous, but even more frightening is the aspect of using a human for target practice.
And he's not wrong. Did you hear what he said? They made him sit up so they could see the silhouette of his head to shoot out windows so that they could see to him to see if he had a firearm. And they had searched him. They went through all this mess. He was unarmed and made... You can't make this shit up. You can't. You want to, but you can't.
That is unwarranted. It is unconstitutional. And we are going to be filing a claim for damages, soon to be followed by a lawsuit, because of what happened to Marquise. And I know Marquise has some words that he wants to share with you right now. I want to give him that opportunity. Marquise?
All right, brother. Let's hear what you got to say, man. Because I couldn't imagine what you went through. But let's hear your words.
I want to start off by thanking God for keeping me here with my family and friends, because there was a chance that I could have died from each bullet that was shot at me. On November 12th, my life changed forever. I haven't been the same since. Will I ever have a peace of mind again? Imagine being shot at a tremendous amount of times while handcuffed in the backseat of a cop car by the ones we call to protect our community. My life flashed in front of my eyes as I hear gunshots and feel bullets going across my face. I instantly ducked my head while shattered glass fell on top of me. I began to pray, asking God to protect me as shots still coming from different directions.
Dude, wild. This is crazy. It's crazy.
After many rounds were fired, there was a slight break. Officers then told me to put my hands in the air and sit up straight. I knew I couldn't put my hands in the air because I was handcuffed, and I couldn't sit up straight because they were aiming at my head. I thought my life was over. I sat up straight looking around, and I see many guns aiming at me. I then left it up to God again as I faced forward, closing my eyes, asking for help. Then they began shooting again.
As you heard it, the first initial shots, they make them sit up, and then they start shooting again. This is insane. I hope you sue them for a lot. I hope you do.
I found a way to rest my hands on the shattered window area to prove I haven't done anything wrong. Moments later, they swarmed the car searching for weapons. There was nothing found.
Showing the moment deputies got Jackson out of the vehicle.
Stay there, don't move. Don't move. Pull it, pull it. Face down, on the ground. Face down, turn around. Pat him down, make sure you don't have any weapons on him.
I didn't do nothing, I swear to God.
Where are you injured, bud?
Ow, I saw that hurt. I don't know what it is.
Clear, car's clear.
Look around, I see my parents crying. I only can imagine how much pain that brought them, not knowing if their firstborn was either dead or alive. Picture your children in my situation. How would you feel? I was then held in a cell for hours with nobody knowing anything. After them almost taking my life for no reason, I could only think of the worst. I thought I was never coming home. Eventually, an officer came in the cell and told me I was free to go with no charges. This was the scariest day of my life. I would never call 911 again for an emergency after this.
And this is why we always say, back the blue until it happens to you. You know, he very well could have had a very good relationship with law enforcement before this incident. But as of this incident, just like numerous of us, you know, something happened with a bad interaction with police, and it has caused us to basically hold police accountable the best way we can. And that's with either our voice or our cameras. And that's why they don't like it. They really don't like whenever this stuff gets exposed, because just imagine without social media and all this, you probably would have never heard about this story. This story would have been swept under the rug and nothing would ever happen to them. but not anymore, and now we're going to expose it.
Okaloosa County Sheriff Department caused so much pain, not only to me and my family, but different families across the world. I deal with flashbacks and nightmares every day. I wish I can get this image out of my head. It has really taken over my mental. As I continue trying to live my normal life, being a part of the MBNO Foundation, giving back to different communities and coaching the youth, I deal with constant reminders of this traumatic situation. I pray that one day I'll again be myself. Last but not least, I want to thank everyone who was standing with me during this difficult time. I love y'all, and always remember Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. God bless.
All right.
My name is Julia Quesada. I'm an attorney with Burris, Niesenbaum, Curry, and Lacey. It is not acceptable that these officers, deputies, and their department is calling this a mistake. It is not okay to call it a mistake. There is no mistake. There was no mistake that Marquise was unarmed. There's no mistake that he had already been searched. There's no mistake that he was already handcuffed in the back of a patrol car when these deputies opened fire. And there's no mistake that the department hasn't released all of the footage or the information related to the shooting. This is not okay. The deputy that shot, that said that he heard an Acorn or after the fact that that's a mistake, that's not acceptable. He resigned. That's not accountability. The other deputy that was exonerated, that is not accountability. There has been no accountability, there has been no transparency, and there has been no justice. And we demand that. We demand transparency. We demand accountability, and we demand justice, and we stand with Marquise with this.
Like I said, this is a wild story. Like, we all knew about the initial shots, and I've been looking for the body cams that they have of the officers that walked up, and I'm gonna roll a clip real quick and talk to you. But in this clip, you can definitely see that there are long guns at this scene, and for him to tell you that he had to sit up and allow them to shoot rifles into the vehicle to break out the windows so that they could see him, and then he put his hands behind his back, up and out a window so that they could see that he was not armed. This is going to cost a lot of money to the city. All the officers involved need to be fired. I mean, at this point, I mean, the fact that they did, like, the initial is one thing, but the secondary is unexcusable, and those people need to be fired. If you really needed to break out windows, you should have friggin' done a better job of something. To shoot out windows like that is just crazy. But hey, obviously, that's the training that these law enforcement officers get is, shoot and pray, pray and spray. Who cares? Who cares about the innocent life of another? This man hasn't even been charged for the alleged charges that were being set up. Like, all of this is wild. But you know the deal. Don't forget, hit that like, share, and that subscribe button, all that good stuff. And I'm out. Soliaker, deuces.